What's up, what's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, Sugar Ray. And G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we take a look back at the first time comedians took the stage with this week's guest, Dylan Brody. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, certified forensic humorist and co-host of Done Way Past Funny. This is the final part of our 5-part segment with Dylan Brody, a roughly 2 hours and 42-minute interview. These last 23 minutes here in this episode is actually the first 23 minutes that we shot. It's us in the green room, shooting the breeze, getting ready for the next 2 hours and 20 minutes. Enjoy. Okay, I'm going to shoot this a little bit out of order. I'm going to do the ending first in the event that we run out of time, because at the end, I want you to have an opportunity to promote or plug whatever products and things you have or that you want to do. And since you have a plethora of product, I mean, you are so fucking prolific. I mean, it's almost like a disease. I mean, you are now I don't know how much it is longevity that you've been doing this for so long. And so it's not like you wrote all of those books and all these plays in the past 5 years.
That's correct.
So, but it's still a lot.
It is. And there's an interesting thing about it. The only thing I would like to plug, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity, everyone should go to dylanbrody.com. Everybody should go to activevoiceproductions.com. At dylanbrody.com, you can find out about me and my career. At the Emporium, you can buy all my books and CDs and so on. Over at activevoiceproductions.com, you can see what we're working on now at the company, what I'm producing, what I am writing professionally. And also there's always a little bit of crossover between Active Voice Productions and the Dylan Brody projects and the Dylan Brody experiments. So, you know, if you're sort of on both of those sites checking around, eventually you'll realize that it's all the same thing and me pretending to have a vast staff.
Okay, now
and by a vast staff, I mean a very, very large penis.
That's how. Now, if you can see that crawl, I just want to make sure that is spelled correctly. Active Voice.
DylanBrody.com is correct. Yeah, but there should be no spaces anywhere.
Yes,
it's all one word.
Right now.
Yep. Good man. That is my professional website. I've been having some remarkable luck with the.
I'm sorry, is that Active Voices or voice?
Voice. Singular voice,
okay.
Multiple productions.
Got you. Okay, so let me make sure that is, you can, because that'll be through the entirety of the show. That'll be down there.
Nice. That hurts me not at all. Although the double parenthesis at the end makes it feel a little bit like you're identifying me as a Jew.
And I wasn't trying to do that. I was.
I apologize for my proofreading instinct and my impulse for perfectionism. I just realized that a video that just won some awards, an Alex Stein piece that I made a Dylan Brody experiment out of, won some awards. And I put out an email about it and I sent links to it. And I've just realized that every file I put into the world has audio only in the left channel.
The thing that we're watching tonight is from '89.
Yeah.
And it only had sound in the left channel. It took me an hour to figure out how to make it stereo.
Well done. Were you able to do it without?
Yes.
How did you do it? Because
Go. Okay. I have a product called Liquid Sound or something. It's a it's by Sony. It's something I purchased so that I could do my music recording through my computer, which I have never done because I have to learn something new. So,
oh, see, I make a night of it. We're recording, right? This should all go in
yes,
here.
yeah, oh yeah,
You're talking about how I'm this prolific. I don't know if you've looked at the website where I house all the songs I've written. The way that I am this prolific is that when I have an idea and I need to get it into the world, I learn the new thing. I pull an all-nighter and I learn the new thing, because learning a new thing is always intimidating and big and difficult. But we live in a world where it's possible, if we can't figure it out intuitively on our own, to Google anything. So, like, I'm currently doing these. I did a recent. It's one of the Dylan Brody experiments that has just begun to go out into the world. I've started to feel out responses to it. It's not comedy. It's not humor. I'm calling it a video chapbook of poetry. And it's I don't know, 35-minute short that does things in all sorts of different ways. So some of it is just me sitting here reading into a camera, very little of it. And then others are using images from stock film, and others are using, I'm using the DALL-E artificial intelligence open source software to develop images for me. I'm going to be doing pitch decks with this thing now. I just used it to create a thing called A Child's Christmas in Brief from a performance that I had done. I used images from DALL-E as though I was creating sort of an animatic. And that's in there. On a couple of them, I used that technique. So it's poems treated in different ways visually, with text on the screen, because poetry is about words. Because I had this idea that there should be a place in the world for poetry specials in the same way that there's a world for comedy specials.
right.
But I didn't really know where. So I just sort of created a thing. But to do that, I had to learn all sorts of weird editing tricks. How am I going to keep this interesting using a lot of still images, using stock footage, using text only, how am I going to make that happen? So I had to learn a bunch of editing stuff, right?
Yeah.
Same thing happened when I created the Corona Dialogues, corona-dialogues.com, 32 episode award-winning web series that Bonnie Hunt came in on as a partnering producer. That series, my book was coming out, Corona hit. It was pre-COVID, right? We hadn't said COVID yet. It was still Corona. Coronavirus was going around. But we went into lockdown. There was no vaccine. I wasn't going to go on book tour. So I created a little 2-act play I could do by Zoom with a friend of mine. And then she wrote a 3rd episode, and I realized she was more talented than I was. And then I made her the star of the piece, and we wrote another 32 episodes. And, we had a bunch of guest stars, and Bonnie Hunt came in, and Tova Feldju came in. And now it's about to be a minor motion picture. Soon to be a minor motion picture. I just coined that this morning. I think that's going to be all over all the posters and shit.
That will be the phrase of the year, Webster's phrase of the year next year.
Oh, nice. I like the way you think. I like that when I minimize, you think big. I realized that I referred to Little People in a story of mine, and then I realized that it was only because it was modern, that if I try to be correct for the period, so I might have, if it were in the 30s, I might have said midgets, right? And then if it was in the 70s, I might have said dwarves. And then in the 80s, I would have said vertically challenged, and now I say little people. And I mentioned to a friend of mine that if I'm that ready to accept changes in language, and that if on the day that little people say they want to be called people of small, I will call them people of small. And he said, "You're treating little people as a monolith."
And they're not quite tall enough to be monoliths, are they? Is there a height requirement to be a monolith?
I'm not certain, but I tried that piece out on a little person that I know, and he said, "Danny, will you call me Danny?" And I realized that I'm just off base from the beginning.
Because I know mountains have to be 1,000 feet, so I didn't know about monoliths.
Well, I think you're making a mountain out of a Murray. What were we talking about, Mr. Fenderson?
Well, I was just letting you know that I was going to let you plug the things.
You can learn your music software.
Yes.
In a night. Just decide. This is a piece that I sort of think would be fun to play with. I'm not recording it yet. I'm just using it to learn my software. Lay down a track on it. Figure out how another track. Just play with it until you get it. Thank you for solving that problem. I have to solve that with this thing today. I'm gonna have to re-upload all the files after I correct it.
What I did, because there was no true right track, there was only a left track. What I did was I copied the left track because and just made it left and right track.
Copied and pasted, exactly the way to do it. Yeah. In Audition, I just tell it to channel the left track to both tracks. I just failed to do it when I output there, because sometimes when I'm inputting, sometimes when I'm recording, and editing, I work in a mono setup.
Right.
Because it uses marginally less memory, and I do everything I can to save memory. And then I shift it to duplicate the tracks, because I'm not doing anything spectacularly special in these things with the audio. Have we started yet? What was the question?
Well, have you tried supplements for the memory? Have you tried that?
You know what? I have not. When I'm doing radio shows, frequently I answer questions at such length that we have all forgotten what the question was to begin with, and I'll just wrap it up with, so in answer to your question, yes.
Well, I have not actually officially. This is recorded, so like I said, I just wanted you to thank you for helping me do this. Thank you for joining me and promote your stuff. And then I will hit the introduction music, because I actually have a theme, and then I'll introduce the show, and then we'll put the ending.
Well, I wouldn't have been so fucking glib and entertaining then. All I want to plug is Active Voice Productions and DylanBrody.com, both of which you've put down. I love that you put www on there, like we still need that.
Well,
does some software require it? Does some software require it?
I have no idea. But I just want people to know that's what it is. When I do that, because some people, like, what is it, the TikTok, Instagram, and they have all these things. Even though I put .com at the end of it, some people don't read to the end of the sentence. They'll just see the beginning, and they'll go, "Oh, it must be Instagram, Dylan Brody," and it's like, no,
they're screwed.
This is the website.
Thank you very much.
No, so it's just to help the idiot. It's to help the idiot, and if they're really stupid, that's still not going to help them.
I didn't realize we weren't already on, or I literally would have been far more conversational and far less rambly. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. I'm going to go ahead and start the introduction.
Shut up.
No, yeah. Well, it won't let you talk. Well, it mutes your mic anyway. So
perfect.
You try. Yeah. So whenever, okay, yeah. So it's just some housekeeping. Whenever there is a clip playing, our mics are muted, and they can't see us or hear us. Their full screen is whatever that clip is. We're listening. Going to watch your 1989 clip.
Okay.
And I have it in two parts, so we can watch the roughly in half. I tried to make it stop at an applause break somewhere in the middle, so it doesn't just end with a word and people say, "Wait a minute!" No, so they realize that was funny. Then we'll discuss that first half. That way we can kind of focus on a chunk as opposed to having it all out there.
There's also a segment that was cut from that set that we can discuss.
Do you have? Oh, we can discuss it. Yes.
Yeah. I don't have the video. But there was a segment that I did that was cut. I gotta change my camera.
Okay.
Did that do it? Did I do it? Did I solve it? Oh, look at that! How much better is that?
Beautiful.
Now it's
10 years younger.
No, but now it's got my computer at the bottom.
Oh,
son of a bitch!
Well, just throw the computer out. You don't need it, do you? It's probably a year old. It's probably an old computer. What, a year old? It's an antique. Get rid of it.
You know what? It's about a year old, and I just had to call them. Let's see if I can do the wait. I got a different solution.
Chair.
There we go. Much better. It's about a year old, and I just had to spend hours on the phone with them because the hard drive is almost full.
Oh.
And I have to back everything up, and I have to figure out what the new hard drive is going to be and whether I need a new computer. And I don't want to get a new computer because it's okay. That's another day's problem.
I have a hard drive story also I'd like to share real quick.
Oh, please do.
I recorded I recorded a 90-minute special, did it over multiple shows, and to piece it together. And I had it all in my computer, and I had started editing the shows together. You know, Pete made it so it's one show, taking different shows, making it one.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where, okay, now I'm going to go through and tighten it up, look for duplicate words, pauses, stuff like that. And that's where I was. I was at that place, and my computer crashed. My hard drive crashed.
Yeah.
No, hard drive crashed, and one of the heads died. Now, what happens with video files, huge files, I have like 4 heads on my hard drive. The video is spread out over all 4 heads.
Yeah.
So if you lose one head, you're losing yes. And that's what I lost. I had to start. What I was able to retrieve, I'd have like the show, it'd be like la 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 la, and then there's this blank space.
Yeah. Do you still have that hard drive?
I still have the hard drive. I've restarted everything. I've pieced things together. So I've back
up everything you have.
Yes.
Look up, do a Google search for damaged hard drive restoration.
Oh, I've done that. That is
okay.
done. The only thing I haven't done now is because he retrieved everything he could possibly over a period of a month, retrieved everything he could. And I have like 3 external hard drives on my computer. I have a computer and 3 external hard drives.
I understand.
My old computer, the one that crashed, he fixed the sector, or he fixed the head, the number 1 head. He repaired it, and he said, "I do not know how long this will actually last because it's a fix." So I have not turned that computer on yet, because what I want to do is turn it on, and then whatever I can back up,
immediately back it up.
Immediately back everything up.
Yeah, just click it right into a terabyte hard drive.
Yes.
Turn it on, clone it, move on.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And then I'll clean it up later.
I had this experience, almost this exact experience, right at the beginning of Corona Dialogues, the series. I did not understand that the video software is constantly creating duplicates and multiples and video multiples on the C drive,
right,
where it can access them, and then just leaving them there.
Yes.
And it's really hard to find them and delete them.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the old days, we would just defragment back in the days of
but even defragmenting doesn't help at this point, because you've got these. It also happens when Windows updates. If you're using a Windows computer, I don't know about Mac, because there's all these obsolete files that just sit there.
Yes,
they never get automatically deleted, and it's horrible. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, no sweat. Let's see.
I'm sorry about your hard drive issue.
Oh, believe me, I was.
It makes you cry. It makes you cry. It's out of your control. It makes you feel helpless and as though the world is against you, because technology is more complicated than we realize as we're using it casually.
Yes.
Because scientists know things we don't. Expertise has
that's
value.
By design. That's by design.
Expertise
they want it like that.
Well, no, not entirely. Look, to some degree, yes. I know nobody starts using Latin unless they're trying to keep some secrets. And you're absolutely right about that. But the fact is, nobody has time or interest to dive as deeply into every subject, as one does to have in one subject, right?
Yeah.
So scientists dive deeply into whatever their fields are, just as I dive deeply into language and writing, and some people specialize even further and go more deeply into one particular field of that. And some people as doctors are generalists, and some go deeply into, they're not trying to hide from you what's going on with your body.
Right.
They're trying to, right? And sometimes they don't have time to explain to you things that they learned through years of medical school, because they need to just fucking give you a shot and let you go on your fucking way, right?
Right.
They're not deliberately keeping a secret from you there. The issue comes when when anybody in any field starts pretending to know more than they do.
Yes.
And people are made uncomfortable by science, because science constantly says, well, this is what we know, and this is what we think we know and are trying to prove.
Yes.
And this is what we used to think until yesterday.
Yes.
And that freaks people out, because the idea of a world that changes in our very understanding of it is very, very recent. The idea of futurism is only, 130 or 40 years old. Up until the Industrial Revolution, everybody assumed the world had always sort of been the way it was and would always sort of be the way it is.
Now, thinking in addition to what you just said, or piggybacking what you just said,
please do.
You remember, like, the first images we took of some of the nebulas, like the Horsehead Nebula, and the Crab Nebula. And the pictures that we took then, they looked like a horse head and a crab. Okay, but now we can look at them through different wavelengths, and they don't look a damn thing like that.
No.
But we still call them Horsehead Nebula and Crab Nebula.
And just like our ancestors, we are looking at the things in the sky and naming them for things we know.
Yes.
I don't see I look at the constellations and I sort of know a few of them, but I can't figure out how anyone saw those stars and imagined them to be this, right? And I'm aware that if you just turn it a slight angle from where we usually see them from, they're not going to look like that anymore, because they're all at different distances from us.
I think that if they were smart, they would have admitted that they did not understand them and just named them all clitoris. Because they just don't understand how it works.
Well, I don't object to naming things by what they look like to us, how we perceive them. I just don't name the clouds and expect them to continue to look like the puppy dinosaur as they move across the sky. Things are going to change.
I'm going to hit my introduction and make it like official.
And then we'll be off camera. And you can use anything that you want from that earlier conversation. It's all editable if you want it.
Cool. Yes. It is. So here we go.
Go to work, baby.